Hello, my name is Luciano Gonzalez, and in today's video we're going to be talking about caucuses and why I think a secular caucus at the national level is a good idea. What I mean by a caucus is a group of people within a political party who organize and advocate for topics related to specific issues. For instance, in North Carolina's Democratic Party, there is a Hispanic Americans caucus. I am a member and a leader of this caucus at the state level, and what we do is we organize and we fight for issues related to improving the lives of Hispanic Americans and Latin Americans in North Carolina, and to a certain extent at the state level. What I want to do with a secular caucus is use it to help train the next generation of separation of church and state advocates. And these advocates are not all going to be non-believers, although many of them are going to be, people like myself, but not all of them will be. What I would like for this hypothetical caucus to do is for it to go and educate candidates, legislators, and voters about issues related to the separation of church and state, and talking about how separation of church and state benefits and protects everyone, including Christians. And I want us to work with organizations that fight for the separation of church and state, and I also want us to work with candidates and help those candidates become better fighters for the separation of church and state, and thus for people who aren't Christian and for people who are Christian, who want to live their lives in terms of their religion free from government influence and free from government bullying. Because that's one of the very real concerns that people who are believers have when it comes to a breach of the separation of church and state. They eventually worry that if their religion isn't the big religion, isn't the religion that's doing the breaching, or even if their particular sect of their religion isn't the group that's doing the breaching, then they're going to be in danger. And that's true. When religious groups are not the people breaching the separation of church and state, they often are in the crosshairs of the group that's doing the breaching. And that's one of the reasons why it's important that separation of church and state continue to exist. Separation of church and state doesn't just protect non-believers who don't want to be bullied by believers in terms of legislation and in terms of political power. It also benefits other believers who don't agree with the majority that's doing the bullying. That's something that more people need to realize. And I think that if advocates of the separation of church and state start putting things in that term, odds are we would be listened to a lot more and we would be taken a lot more seriously. But that's a conversation for a different day. One of the main purposes of this caucus that I'm thinking of, at the very least, would be that it trains and looks for people who could run for office who would defend the separation of church and state and would fight for religious freedom at all levels, and actual religious freedom, including the freedom to not experience discrimination because of your religious beliefs or because of your sexuality and because of someone else's religious beliefs. That's what religious liberty actually means. Religious liberty doesn't mean the right to be a bully and to force your religious views onto someone else. Although I can understand how someone who wants it to mean that could look at it and see it meaning that. But there's a real need for secular caucuses throughout this country. And as I make these couple of videos throughout the next couple of weeks, throughout the next couple of months, I hope that people will start to understand where I'm coming from, and that hopefully people start to agree with me. Once people start to agree with me, we can talk about the actual process of forming caucuses. But there already are secular caucuses in the Democratic Party, and at least one that I know of in the Green Party in California. In the Democratic Party, the ones that I know of are in Texas, Utah, and Arizona. And I know that two of those states might be a little bit surprising, but it's there and people can find it, and that's really neat. So I'm hoping that now that I've made this video, we can start having a conversation about what a secular caucus could do, especially within the Democratic Party and within the Republican Party, the two major parties in this country. If you want to have that conversation, I would absolutely love to have it with you. Feel free to comment in the comment section. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and you aren't already a subscriber, please subscribe. You never know when I'm going to start creating more of these kinds of videos. This week I am going to go back to regular content, which means that on Sunday I will be uploading a video talking about religion and atheism by themselves, not in a political context, and hopefully on Saturday I'll be uploading a video talking about Latin American history. I would also like to shout out Godless Cranium and all of the awesome people that I got to be with on Wednesday when the video was uploaded. That was a really fantastic video, and I have almost double the number of subscribers that I had before it because of it. And I'm definitely going to be doing more collaborations in the future where I talk about atheism and religion, and also Latin America if there are any Latin American YouTubers who want to collaborate. So feel free to check those out. I'll be linking the collaboration in the description of this video, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful Thursday.